So hello guys, today we're going to talk about the differences and why you should, what if you're thinking about getting some air cooling or some liquid cooling, kind of go over why, some stuff about liquid cooling and air cooling and kind of the differences.
It's delicious.
Somebody suggested this on the Discord server. They asked if we could go make a video about this, and I thought why not. It's a very good topic to talk about, why you should pretty much not want to go ahead. I mean, from looking at this from a standpoint, it all depends on what you want. Hopefully by the end of this video you'll know a little bit better about why necessarily going straight out with liquid cooling is completely not necessarily the smartest idea, especially if you've never done it before, and especially if you're making a custom kind of water cooling setup. So first of all, let's start off by explaining liquid cooling is basically where you take water or a liquid, kind of given its name, and you circulate it around the computer. You send it to a fan. The fan cools off the water and then sends it back to the processor. And this can also be done for graphics cards, so you can allow them to overclock, etc. So this is mostly used for overclocking because it produces a lot of heat. So basically, let me explain some of the stuff, how, of course, when you use this, if you have a good thermal paste, you'll get a lot more, overclocking ability because it allows it to cool a lot faster, and it will basically keep it cool. You'll be able to overclock a lot of things. Now, obviously, you can do this for graphics cards, but this is kind of a little bit different because if you're using this for graphics cards and you're making your own kind of water cooling setup, yes, it looks extremely cool. It will look extremely cool, but there's also some bad chances of some stuff I'll get to later in this video. So, as I said, graphics cards are different. They come with their stock coolers, but if you take them off and you put, set it up with your own, all the different coolers and stuff, you can get some really good performance from both your CPU and, graphics cards. Not to mention, when you have two graphics cards, it is really good to make your own custom water cooling setup because it allows you to cool both of them at the same time, which makes them run a lot better. So now you're thinking, well, I of course want to go through and do this. And yeah, that's an awesome idea. You can get a lot more cooling and it sounds really good. Now keep in mind, you're putting water inside of electronic parts. And if that explains the whole next bit of this video for you, then that's great. But to keep in mind, most water coolers will be somewhat safe. By that I mean you can probably tear them up pretty good and not have to worry about it. But when you get into the cheaper end of water coolers and you start making your own, you have to be extremely careful because obviously, I've seen some bad stories where someone's water cooler is broke and spilled, and the only thing it spills on is the graphics card and the processor, which are the two most expensive parts of the whole freaking computer. So just keep that in mind as, you're spending a whole lot of money on this, is water cooling something are you willing to risk, a couple more, maybe half a gigahertz on your processor and maybe a little bit better performance on your graphics card to go out, risk liquid cooling it in the chance it breaks. Now obviously, some coolers are out there and they're really good, so I'm not blaming on them, but I have had stories where someone's gone through and liquid cooled their whole thing and they turn it on and it basically completely fries everything. So I know I'm just getting that out there because I thought I'd tell you that as well. And you're all thinking, well, that sounds awfully bad. That's not a good thing that I would want to have happen. And there's also another thing that could happen. So if you guys don't know, a fan or a water cooling works kind of like this. As I said, it has the fans that to cool the water, but it also has a pump that circulates the water. And sometimes in some liquid coolers, the pump actually breaks. And if the pump breaks, no water is flowing. So all the water gets heated up and doesn't go anywhere. So what that either leaves up is it can either break your CPU, because especially if you have a really hot one, it just takes like that and you'll be basically cooked. So you have to keep in mind, especially sometimes the pumps fail. It's good to have maybe multiple pumps, and also keep that in mind for your graphics cards. If you have them liquid cooled and your pump through your whole system fails, you pretty much lost circulation. And I'm not telling you guys all this stuff because I'm a big fan of air cooling. The reason why I have an air cooler is simply because that was what I was able to afford. But let me keep you guys, informed, because I feel like, if I were to present this as like liquid cooling is the best thing and not tell you this, and I'd be like responsible for anything that happens. I just want to make sure you have everything out there to make the best decision, because liquid cooling is very dangerous, especially if you're doing advanced stuff. Like, a good liquid cooler, a full enclosed system will not have that much of a risk, and that's probably what I'm going to end up getting. But if you're going through and liquid cooling it customly, and I would say make sure you have some experience or practice before you go through and start putting water in there, because that's just not going to be a good thing to go in there and find out your whole system's ruined just because, you know, a leak was somewhere. But I hope this video helped you in some way, and I hope to save somebody's computer from getting completely fried. And as I said, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any kind of tech related stuff, check out my channel. Lots of tech reviews, benchmarks, and other cool things. Thank you.